Hello Mains 2026 aspirants. This is a quick revision video of most important dynamic topics for your upcoming mains examination. And you can expect a lot of questions coming in the upcoming mains 2026 paper. So without any further delay, let's discuss the first topic. The first topic is about Transgender Rights Amendment Bill 2026. And the main problem in this bill is that it is negating the earlier judgment of NALSA, where there was self-identification. Now it is trying to medicalize the process. Requirement of certification is there. So if I have to analyze it sociologically, how I can analyze it? So the first is the distinction between sex and gender. Sex is something biological, gender is social construct. So sex is something which is based on chromosome or anatomy or hormones. Gender is you rather behave like a man, women, or transgender, and that is something based on socialization, as given by Anocles Sylvia Valvi, that you can use. The second concept is I and me that you can utilize. Before giving you some new thinkers, I am trying to explain you what existing knowledge you can apply in these dynamic topics. So I and me concept, if there is self-identification, it is more assertion of I. So an individual is identifying own choice. If it is about certification, then it is asserting me. Me means society is giving you identity. So these two basic theories you can apply. Apart from it, one very important theory which you can apply is of Michael Foucault. This is very important. If these three also you are writing and using keywords, you will get maximum possible marks. So Michael Foucault, biopolitics. He gave a beautiful theory in which he said that the state regulates bodies as a subject of governance. So here we have medical certification, and it is a classical instance of biopolitical control over identities. I'm not bombarding you with new content. I'm just giving you one thinker that you can memorize. Michael Foucault, biopolitics. And while you are trying to give way forward, you can say, you can use again an existing theory of Amartya Sen capability approach. Okay, we need to develop their capability. This is what you can write. Okay. Then let's come to the second topic, that is social media polarization. Now let's talk about first the existing keywords and theories that you all know which you can apply. So the first is the echo chamber cycle. Now what happens is you engage with the content, you pause it and watch it multiple times. Similar kinds of content are pushed by algorithm. So now you have similar kinds of, if you are watching a misogynist content, you will watch continuously more misogynistic content, you will become even more. And then you will differentiate an individual character with gender. Like if someone has done bad, or if someone has done bad to a person, you will identify that this particular gender is associated with this. However, the identity is not something which is solely dependent on gender. So this happens because you are suffering from echo chamber effect. You become a hardliner. Then some more theories which you can apply, as we discussed the thinker name, even if you don't know, this is given by Elie Pariser, filter bubble, echo chamber effect. I will not bombard you. A second and most important concept that you can apply is network society. So what is happening is digital network is reconstructing the traditional power dynamics. Beforehand, you see where people used to sit near the banyan tree or people neem trees. People used to sit there and discuss. Mostly older people, elderly male, that too. And they used to decide what will happen in a society. Now also it is happening that some 50 years, 60 years, 70-year old men, they become outraged with the clothes of women, with the keeping of mobile by the women. The solid example is of Kha Panchayat. So in India, still we have all this feudal characteristic. There is a tension which is developing. So you can also apply a theory which you all know, that is the cultural lag theory. Now that in India, Auburn's theory we can apply in multiple areas. Auburn's theory used to say that the society is materially developing or technologically developing at a faster rate, but the culture is still lagging behind. So in Haryana, you see, we have Gurugram, which is developed city in terms of having a lot of startups, having gated communities, cafes, and whatnot. But in the same Haryana, the places like Charkhi Dadri, the sex ratio is not even 800. So this theory you can apply even when you are analyzing the effect of social media, you can apply this. Now this network society is saying that now the society is becoming more and more decentralized. Like recently protests happened. So the people, the conventional people of the older generation, they were thinking that people who are liking or subscribing on social media not necessarily are supporting. They do not take it seriously, but that's not the game now. A like, a follow can make someone deeply follow that principle. An algorithm is making you more hardliner. So this is what you can write, and I'm not bombarding you with new thinkers, new perspective. I'm trying to help you to utilize the existing things which you can use. You can also use Zygmunt Bauman's concept, which you can utilize in so many questions. It's my earnest request that you use Zygmunt Bauman's concept of liquid modernity. You can apply in family. So in the current scenario, the relationships are becoming precarious, more driven by interest and more driven by modern considerations like career, material, economy, wealth. You must have seen news coming that a marriage has been cancelled because of poor CIBIL score. This was a news. This is a good example which you can use. So liquid modernity is capturing the shift where the fixed ideologies are replaced by fluid narratives. So jobs are also getting affected. Jobs are also becoming more and more precarious. But yes, India is still obsessed with the fixed and permanent jobs, like government job. But if you see the worldwide scenario, the jobs are becoming more and more fluid. People are learning new skills. Yes, it's challenging, but that helps to make a nation thrive. Then the third topic is algorithm bias in AI. AI will come. So I am giving you some concepts which you can apply in any question of AI. So first you can talk about the dictatorship of algorithm. So few people and mostly men, that too from the developed nation, are deciding your choices, your food, your attire, your political ideology. So there is a dictatorship of algorithm. You must be seeing that certain kinds of content gets pushed by TikTok. There was an allegation on TikTok that you now people who are not so fair, they were filtered out. Algorithm used to desist pushing those content. This was an allegation, and this was sort of proved as well. So this particular concept you all must have read, so you can use it. The second is Pierre Bourdieu's concept of symbolic violence. So AI tools are embedded with, again, the dominant cultural values, privileged based urban class, upper caste, English speaking. Okay. And while rendering other people as invisible. So this is a symbolic violence, appears natural or objective, but mask deep biases. You can also apply another existing concept of Dipankar Gupta, where he talks about social closure. So AI-based hiring platform that favor certain academic backgrounds, certain colleges, or certain linguistic profiles, algorithmically sidelines the marginalized candidates. Subaltern perspectives are not there, female perspectives are not there. And one most important concept that you have to utilize, and this keyword also, black box society, given by, even if you name you are forgetting, still you can write black box society, Frank Pascal. So citizens affected by algorithm system, denied welfare due to Aadhaar mismatches or misidentified by facial recognition, often lack the means to question or appeal the outcomes. They do not have that much of resources and know-how to question that. So this is the black box society. This is a good example. You can talk about AI-based Aadhaar authentication, how it often fails to recognize informal or undocumented identities. Facial recognition tools show high error rates. And you see Amazon AI hiring tool penalized resume that includes women's organization, reflecting gender bias coded into the algorithm itself. So this is more than sufficient to write good answers. Then digital identity, adolescent crisis, and rising hate speech. Now, why this is very important? You must have read about a suicide, the Ghaziabad case. Teens committing suicide. Now, why this is happening? We can first apply the concept of Durkheim, that is anomy. So there is a weak family kinship bonds or social bonds. So there is lack of collective consciousness, collective morality, and people are committing anomic suicide. That you can use. Also, the self-worth is outsourced. There is a beautiful theory which you can again apply in many questions. Looking glass self, Cooley's theory. You all must have read. Even if you haven't read, this is a very simple thing. If I want to understand what I'm capable of, I am constantly see feedbacks of my students. But that's not true. If you are constantly looking at that, there is a concept of a friend of all is a friend of none. So you will always feel vulnerable because someone whom you even don't know, one comment can make you feel that you are non-worthy. So social media has exaggerated that. You are trying, you are beautiful or not, that is based on the comments. You are talented or not, you teach well or not, that is based on the comments. This is looking glass self theory, which you can utilize. And that leads to a, a blog that I had written last year, validation is poison. So inferiority complex, if a person is not getting some commodity like a particular car, a particular mobile, they might resort to some things even like suicide or going into depression. Then there is a curated perfect digital identity, perfect relationship. They will show you relationships. Okay, if the perfect relationship is you need to cook together, you need to dance together, you need to make reels together, you need to go to places, you need to showcase your love. You need to showcase. Okay, that perfect wife is not from where you both are going to cafe, but if she's there when you are in hospital. All these nonsensical things which gives perfect digital and perfect relationship, perfect jobs. You must have seen some of the reels in which a government employee is trying to downplay a corporate sector employee. A corporate sector employee is trying to downplay a government sector employee, and people making reel. Policemen's making reel. The advocates trying to show we are the best, we are the most powerful. Media persons, corporate employees showcasing of their food, their habits. Their now I'm trying to give you examples as well. Now, this constant tussle is because of your inherent issues. You feel that your worth will be decided by others. You always feel incomplete. You will see in your surrounding people who always say things like, okay, we are the best. We are doing the things which is done by none, or the things like we don't care. Now, these people are the ones who are suffering from deep inferiority complexes. That's the problem, and that is because of the social media culture. So I hope now you have understood so much that you can apply in any question related to it. Yeah, you can apply Durkheim, you can apply Cooley, you can also apply Merton's theory, reference group theory. So we have made references. Like people, if they want to do, you join gym, they see Virat Kohli or Cristiano Ronaldo or any such person. No? You are idolizing everything. Now, idolizing has a problem. So even if you are making someone God, making someone now beyond humanness. So every human has flaws, every human has some strengths. So then what will happen is you will even go and fight if someone is trying to put up the flaws. Like if there is a spat which is happening on the cricket ground between two players, you will go and abuse the wife of another player. So this has happened, and this is not justified at all. So this is again because of blinded fan following. And you are seeing in India with respect to politics as well. There is 1-0. If the government is doing some good thing which should be appreciated, it is not appreciated. If government is doing some blunder, the people cannot criticize. Now these two, both the things are not fine for a healthy democracy. Goffman's theory also you can apply performed identity. I'm giving more time to these concepts because these are very important and some or other questions may come. This is something because we're living in an age of social media. So online self is curated to perfection. Your dramatological perspective also you can apply. You are performing a kind of a drama in social media. You're going to a place, not going because you love being there in serenity, but you are going, you are making videos, you are making reels, you're showcasing, wow, this is something out of the world. You should go. This is the best place in the world. This is Switzerland of this. No, India is India. India is not Switzerland of this. Kurg is Kurg. Kurg has an identity. Okay. In oneself. Not it should not be compared. Like Western Ghats have a beauty. You should not compare it. Okay. Then rising hate speech. So you can apply the concept of Durkheim as well. And hate speech, social media, all the concept that we read, we can use it. Because of echo chamber effect and all these things, people are becoming hardened in their viewpoint. Now, hate speech also becomes a tool for dominant group to target a marginalized vulnerable community. You must have seen one thing. Between two castes who are fighting, they make women a sort of revenge thing. So if there is a difference between upper caste, say for example Brahmins or untouchables, the dominant groups will use hateful speeches against each other's community's women. If there is any violence which is happening, communal rights, women face the burn. So inherently, these caste system and the mainstream religion works in a manner that it is controlled by patriarchy. That is why UPSC had asked a question: are all religion patriarchal? So just connect the dots. Foucault this year is important as well. Jürgen Habermas is also important. So Foucault had given a concept of discourse and power. So power operates through discourse. Now repeated narratives or PR campaigns. Now you must have seen the IT cell and this and that. So they spread repeated narratives and make any particular individual larger than life. And that is done for many leaders around the world. Okay, this is more than sufficient to answer any question. Then comes the menstrual health as constitutional citizenship, because it has been now categorized by the Honorable Supreme Court as a fundamental right under the Article 21. Now, sociological dimension, quickly what we can use is, so the first concept which you can easily use is biopolitics, which we read in the Foucault, given by Foucault in the previous current affairs news as well. So menstruation has historically been controlled through silence, taboo, and spatial exclusion. The court's intervention transforms a stigmatized biological process into a constitutional concern, expanding what may be termed as biological citizenship. Again, patriarchy controls the sexuality of women. Men will decide what women can wear and what is moral and immoral. They can wear as short cloths. They are not wearing upper cloths. They are deciding what is suitable for men and what is suitable for women to wear, how they can behave, whom they can marry, what job they can do. It's a dictatorship by men. This is called as patriarchy. And if a woman is not following the same, then she's ridiculed, her character is assassinated. Okay, a woman is trying to commodify her body by posting videos, etc. Yes, this is supporting patriarchy rather than emancipatory, because patriarchy want you to become like a commodity, something to be consumed, even if it is someone's will. But this is further solidifying the patriarchal mindset of thinking a woman like an object. So Simon de Beauvoir concept is something I believe you all would have read it. So women is historically constructed as other, and biological functions like menstruations become site of stigma, stigmatized. So court's recognition challenge the structural othering. And Walby's now patriarchy concept that you can apply, that women are marginalized both in both public and private structures, and the judgment is addressing this structural exclusion by mandating institutional accountability. You can apply this concept again, symbolic violence. So schools reproduce social hierarchy when girls drop out after puberty due to inadequate facilities. When girls internalize embarrassment about menstruation, domination operates invisibly through symbolic violence. This concepts, I have consciously included repeated concepts so that you are solidifying and you are using at many places. Goffman's stigma also we can apply. So menstruation humiliation in school reflects stigma, an attribute that discredits individuals in social interactions. Durkheim's collective consciousness also you can apply. So court attempt is trying to establish a collective consciousness around dignity and equality. Okay. Then a world retreating from free trade. You can apply first to Andre Gunder Frank theory and Emmanuel Wallerstein theory. When these developing nations started becoming more technologically better, more capable to even send human resources and export, now suddenly this developed world is closing their doors. They believe that if the world is moving towards free trade, their domination will go away. Those neo-colonization process will go away. You see how the rise of nations like India is being curtailed or being controlled by nations like USA. So these are a primary example. You can apply Andre Gunder Frank's theory, Emmanuel Wallerstein's theory, world system theory. So core states use economic instruments to preserve dominance in the global hierarchy. Now, trade is now deeply embedded in geopolitics. Supply chains are weaponized. Economic sanctions shape diplomacy. There is another theory, double movement. So what happens is when market is expanding excessively, society reacts to protect itself. Protectionism can be understood as societal response to perceived market excesses, a counter movement against hyper globalization. Even if you can't remember his name, just write double movement. You will get marks. You will get more marks than others. And one theory which you should memorize, Ulrich Beck's risk society, can apply in sustainable development goal question, can apply in range of question. So now a society is suffering because of man-made problems, anthropogenic risk, the pandemic that came, COVID-19, recent flash floods that has happened in Assam, in Tibet, climate change induced flash floods, supply chain disruptions. That is reshaping economic policy. States are now prioritizing resilience over efficiency. So, risk society means now the world is grappling because of man-made problems. This you can apply at many places, even sustainable development goal as well. Then education, since there was a lot of news about the primary education, coaching institutes, and so many things. So we have so many concepts like Pere Bourdieu, cultural capital, you can apply to people who have more money. They are going to private international schools. People who don't have money, they are studying in schools which are running in abysmally poor condition. So it is affecting their learning outcome. It is affecting their dignity and so many other things. Then Durkheim and functionalist, if you will talk about, they will say that it leads to social integration. Okay. Then you can apply Gramsci theory of cultural hegemony. So curriculum choices reflect dominant ideology. Althusser also you can apply the Marxist perspective, shaping how history, citizenship, and identity are understood. Education is deeply political. You will see some or other political parties coming with different ideology. They will try to rewrite or reinterpret the history. This is part of that. And everybody tries to do that. Parsons used to say that education was meant to select talent on merit, and merit is often shaped by unequal starting points, making the system simultaneously integrating and stratifying as well. Patriarchy, Sylvia Walby, feminist perspective you have to give, subaltern perspective you have to give. Subaltern perspective, you can talk about how the people coming from erstwhile depressed class, they are studying in educational institutions where the student to people ratio is very bad. Learning pedagogy is not up to the quality. Teachers, if you see, they are not properly trained. So they are in a invisible, in a cycle, a vicious cycle. When you are talking about the feminist perspective, so you can use Sylvia Wally's perspective. So despite, you see, there is a change in enrollment, gender disparities persist in STEM leadership and research. And digital divide is again reflecting all these things. So I think this is more than sufficient to write any answer. Then elderly in India, there can be a question because aging people who are now above 59 years of age or 64 years of age, their population is increasing. And that too, there is a regional disparity. You see in states like South Indian states like Kerala, you'll see oldest population in the country. They will have 23% elderly by 2036. States like UP and Bihar have relatively younger people. Now you can apply concepts like Giddens reflexive modernity. So the shift from joint to nuclear family directly increases elderly vulnerability. A core understanding that you need to have. So because of that, we need to have geriatric care. A geriatric care is not there. So now they are becoming even more vulnerable because there is absence of care. And there is a weakening of family support. Also, elderly are feeling that they are left out. They are feeling alienated in the fast changing world. AI has come. They were the generations where there was not even feature phone for majority of them. AI is something and they are ridiculed for being outdated. And there is a constant tension also. So if you see elderly people, they will criticize whatever choices young generation is making. Okay, so there is growing tension in the Indian society. And care labor, there is a feminist perspective, is dominated by women. Now, it is again raising questions about gender. Pink colorization you can apply of Karuna Ahmed as well. Now, this is a very important topic because of CJP movement, Gen Z, social media, and the crisis of democratic institutions. So you can apply the theory of Habermas public sphere. So now the digital spaces are creating new arenas for communicative actions like Instagram channels crossing 20 millions in no time, but are also vulnerable to algorithmic colonization and state censorship that distorts rational democratic discourse. States can ban, states can remove many democratic channels. Then Giddens reflexive modernity. So Gen Z critically evaluates and challenges existing institutions rather than passively accepting them. Digital activism is increasing. Why so? Because they are exposed to egalitarian values via social media, not by the sponsored media or state controlled media. Individual creators making something which is emancipating, they are following that instead of the state controlled conventional institutions like newspapers, the conventional news channel, TV channels, etc. And here you can apply network society as well, how digital age flows through networks, not just institutions, and Gramsci's theory of hegemony. So states' response reflect an attempt to contain counter-hegemonic expression through legal instruments. The question is whether dissent can survive algorithm and legal suppression. Okay, this is what you all can write, like use of Section 69. Then Noida workers protest. So there can be a question on household workers, gig economy, and workers' rights and protest. So this is expected for this year examination. You can apply Marx concept in any such question. So extended working hours represent absolute surplus of the workers. They are being pauperized. The income of CEOs has increased 70 times, but if you see the employee, they are still the same more or less since last 15-20 years. Inflation is increasing. They are being exploited, especially in nation like India where we have huge working age people and unskilled workers who are being manipulated and harassed. Now, there is another concept, disembedded markets. So labor has become a pure commodity detached from social obligation. Economic relations are stripped of their social context. They are relatively deprived as well. Workers compare themselves to other regions and to rising urban cost, feeling systematically cheated. Feminist sociologists will say that women are more concentrated here, women are more harassed here. There is a crisis of social reproduction. You can apply all these concepts. Then demographic transition in India. So the TFR is decreasing and the difference between South and North. So this all you can understand. So Durkheim will say that increasing population density and division of labor are associated with emergence of complex societies, and this is an existing concept. You can apply modernization theory as well, like with the rise in education, urbanization. There is a change in demographic behavior. If the education of women is increasing, the number of children she will have will also reduce. Okay, these all concepts you can apply. Then rising ethnic conflicts, communalism, and identity politics. Again, you can apply network society as well. You can apply echo chamber effect as well. Okay, now how this is further. Now, social media was thought to be a rational media, but now all these things are further aggravating. So this also you can use it. Then social identity theory. So individual derives self-esteem and belonging from group membership, leading to in-group favoritism. Now you always believe that I am from this particular state, this particular language, and take pride of. Okay, the gig economy, as I told you, is extremely important. You can apply the alienation theory, how they are getting alienated. You can apply guy standing theory that gig workers constitute a new underclass, the precariat, characterized by chronic insecurity. They do not have social security. They have lack of occupational identity and absence of social protections. Labor has been commodified and detached from social obligations as well. The caste census and caste reservations can come, UGC debate and reservation protest, etc. And the caste census. So this is something which is very important for this year action, affirmative action. B.R. Ambedkar said that caste census could be a tool for justice by making structural inequality visible. Okay, we have a policy, and without data, a policy cannot be implemented effectively. Louis Dumo, Homohierarchicus you can apply. Any counting by caste risk reinforcing the hierarchical social order rather than subverting it. So it may further solidify the caste identity. Social capital. So caste census would expose unequal distribution of social capital among castes. This also you can apply. Then Weber's theory. So highlight status-seeking behavior in caste claims. Competing claims to scheduled status reflect Weber's understanding of status group competing for social honor and material advantages. Then climate-induced migration. India SDG is their favorite UPSCs, and climate-induced migration also is very, very important. So you can apply the anomy theory. Like they are living in a particular regions, even if you give them a flat, the mountains and rivers were more than just mountains and rivers. They were part of the family. There was a culture. Now they will feel anomy. You can apply Vandana Shiva's feminist ecology. So women face dual vulnerability. Either they are left behind in resource scarce village or exposed to urban exploitation after migration. You can also apply disjuncture theory of Arjun Appadurai. So global processes like climate change affect the poor locally and disproportionately, creating sharp disjuncture between global cause and local consequences. You can use a keyword that is climate apartheid. Okay, like the climate change is happening more because of the actions by the developed nations and the wealthy people, but the brunt is faced by the socially deprived section of the society. Okay, then the changing Indian family structure. So you will talk about how the family structure is changing, and then it will affect the primary socialization. So family is the first agent of socialization. Now both the couples are working, so they do not give proper time for their children. So they are getting socialized through various mechanisms. They might know informations which are not even correct through social media. They might feel anomy. They might feel alienated. And there is a Bowlby's theory of attachment. So frequent changes in caregiver disrupt secure attachments, strongly associated with things like ADHD, conduct disorders, mood instabilities, mood swings. And you can also apply theory of Martin Wallerstein. So single parents, particularly mothers, face dual burden of caregiving and earning. So role overloads lead to reduced emotional availability and long-term effects on children. Then new forms of families like live-in relationship. So Howard Baker's labeling theory. It is not the act itself, but the reaction to the act that matters something, that makes something deviant. So live-in couples challenge dominant notions of marriage, female chastity, and familial honor, inviting social disapproval rather than inherently embodying deviance. That is, they are keeping personal choices above the societal dictatorship over what you have to do, even in the most private spheres. It is the most private sphere. Whom you want to live the rest of the life is none of the matter of the society to dictate. It's a deeply individual decision. That's why you will see in the developed nations, like recently, one of the most famous footballers, Cristiano Ronaldo, married, only 5 people came. So they have made it a deeply personal choice, because if it is going wrong, you are the one who will face all the burden. The society will not come. Okay. Then William Ogburn, cultural lag. As I told you, that material changes are happening fast, urbanization, etc. But values and moral codes are deeply same, specifically for the elderly people. And they are trying to impose the same, especially in the feudal societies where they are more and more agriculture dependent. Anthony Giddens' pure relationship. So modern relationship prioritizes emotional satisfaction over duty. You can also apply liquid modernity concept of precarious nature of the Bauman. Then sociology of artificial intelligence. So AI, we had studied the existing concept that you can apply the biopolitics concept. You can apply the cultural hegemony in a dictatorship of algorithm, risk of society. So that also you can apply, that how it illuminates the uncertainties and unintended consequences of AI, like cybercrime, terrorism. That also can happen. Again, the man-made problems that a society can face. And it is a tool of digital capitalism as well. Then language conflicts in India. So language as collective conscience. So language provides you collective conscience, same kind of knowledge, same kind of literature, also sharing same kind of culture and morality. So it gives you collective conscience, a morality. And then there is a language and power stratification as well. Those fluent in dominant languages like Hindi and English have certain advantages over others, because there is a more demand for jobs, there is more demand, there is more availability of resources, biases by the the powerful people, all these things happen. Then Peer Bourdieu's linguistic capital. So language acts as a form of symbolic capital. So mastery of English or Hindi open access to elite jobs, education, and government services. Then Sanskritization is revealing how lower castes try to move up the social hierarchy by adopting the language and customs of upper caste. Like the language Sanskrit, previously, when it started, it was an elite sort of language, but later on it was imbibed by other castes as well. Prakrit or Pali, which was imbibed by Buddhism and Jainism, were the local speaking. Ardhamagdi were the local language of people, masses. Then AR Desai's class interest. So language politics often reflect deeper class interests. Dominant groups use language to maintain control over resources us versus them. Development हो नहीं रहा है, education मिल नहीं रहा है, and then what they will do is they will make someone enemy or evil. You are not getting jobs because someone else is taking your job. You are not able to enjoy or develop because someone else is your enemy. Othering effect. Also, this is a very important tool, divide and rule, which you can quote. You see, there was anti-Hindi agitation in Tamil Nadu, then Karnataka, Maharashtra, Belgavi dispute, Assam and Northeast, Bodo agitation, Bengali speaking migrants faced the band. There are so many issues. In Punjab, also Punjabi Suba movement, then Telangana movement partly stemmed from marginalization of its Telugu dialect by Andhra elites. Then West Bengal, protest over Hindi rising presence in central jobs and schools. In Maharashtra, especially the agitations done by MNS. These all are example. Then Jürgen Habermas, since Jürgen Habermas, TK Uman, and Andre Bethe, all three died recently. So these all three scholars are important. And Jürgen Habermas, there are some important concepts that can be asked. Like if they are asking about a special question on Jürgen Habermas, his contribution, you can use the first concept, which is very, very important, theory of communicative action. So it focused on how language and communication aim at mutual understanding and consensus, contrasting with strategic or instrumental action driven by power or profit. So, how language and communication is trying to build a consensus. We were reading about, right, the lingual conflict. So, it gives us a kind of a mutual understanding and consensus. It is something contrasting with the instrumental action which is driven by profit or power. And he gave a theory of life world and system. So the life world is the realm of shared everyday cultural meaning and personal interaction. The system comprises institutional structure like market and bureaucracy. And he also talked about the colonization of the life world. So modern capitalist system erode and take over everyday human experiences through bureaucratic and economic expansion. He talked about public sphere. So a social space where citizens debate critical societal issues influencing democratic governance and political action is is known as the public sphere. Okay, so little bit of understanding might help you if any direct question comes. And TK Uman, so social movement pe he had talked about, you must have read identity based movement, ethnic movement, regional movement, national movement. Then he had talked about ethnicity and nationalism. So Uman is particularly valuable for explaining the relationship between ethnicity and nationalism as well. He had talked about nation and state as well. He said that avoid the confusion between treating nation and state as synonymous. They are different. State is political territorial organization. Nation is a community with shared identity and belonging. And he also talked about the citizenship as a mechanism of incorporation. Then reservation as an instrument of substantive equality. So the reason is historical exclusion. Representation should be provided. It's also a tool for representation for the marginalized section. It provides social mobility, and it also is there is a contradiction between substantive and formal equality. So treating historically unequal group identically may perpetuate inequality. Hence, different treatment can promote substantive equality. There is elite capture as well. Certain caste or within caste also some affluent people are taking benefit. So there is a demand for having creamy layer in SC/STs as well. So this also you can now read. Then caste persistence. So ironically, reservations can simultaneously weaken caste-based disadvantage through mobility while also making caste categories institutionally silent. Then there is a myth of meritocracy also, which you can apply. We all know that the people say the reservation is taking away merit. So merit decided by whom? Merit is decided by the elites. So they are deciding what is called as merit. They are defining curriculum, and they are saying you are not eligible. So this theory also you can apply, and B.R. Ambedkar you will cite. So caste is a system of graded inequality. Political and educational safeguards are necessary. M.N. Srinivas, concepts such as Sanskritization and dominant caste help explain changing patterns. Andre Bate also useful for discussing the relationship between equality, hierarchy, and differentiation in Indian society. So caste is also something which is related to class, but it is changing in the present society. There is a rise of not so ritually purer caste or superior caste having more land and political power. TK woman, so you can talk about identity mobilization along caste, particularly how collective identities become organized around claims for recognition and resources. So within very less time, I try to give you some certain knowledge which will help you immensely in the upcoming mains examination. Trust my words, it will help you immensely. I have not tried to bombard many things. Existing things also I have focused more and more, and I have worked very hard for all of you. This is the last video for Mains 2026 students, which I am releasing. I have released endless notes, checked thousands of copies, even for free for Mains students, and worked very, very hard. That has also taken a toll on my mental and physical health, but this is something which gives me satisfaction. Thank you all. I know my students will do the best. Take care and best of luck.